And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Anytime you're talking about fundamentals in a market and direction, fundamentals take a little bit of time to play out.
We got crude oil today, kind of trading yesterday's value area really nicely, low to high.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that. Builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good morning and welcome to the Market Forecast, Tuesday, April the 19th. I'm John Hoagland. Thanks for trusting me with your time. It's good to be back with you today. Tuesdays are a very busy day. We have a couple of things today. We've got Make Hoag Money right after the Market Forecast this morning. We also have the Coach's Playbook at 11:30. Looking forward to that as well. And I'll be back again for the market recap at 3 o'clock. I want to thank JD for covering for me yesterday morning. Thank you to the Dancing Bear as always. And we've got our opportunities lying ahead of us for today. We've got the opportunity to seek accurate context, always thinking about risk management, and to try and remain patient. And I think patience is going to be part of the plan for sure today, especially in our equities, which are opening relatively steady inside value, inside range yesterday. So we're going to see that in the charts very shortly. As far as economic numbers this morning, 7:30 the housing starts and permits came out. Both of them came out a little bit higher than expected with the demand in housing, even though it is hugely expensive. It doesn't surprise me that there's a little push to the upside as far as starts and permits this morning. There's also a couple of talking Feds talking throughout the day today, later on. As far as what's on traders' minds this morning, the U.S. stock indices steady early today, and even now, a little bit of a pullback here coming into the prior to the open. Earnings season has taken a higher priority. We're looking for J&J today, which was mixed as far as outcome. Lockheed Martin and Fifth Third Bank. Fifth Third Bank both misses on both earnings per share and revenues. This afternoon, we're waiting for Netflix, IBM, and Interactive Brokers, just to name a few. The Fed's Bullard has floated the idea, probably the first talking Fed to float the idea of a 75 basis point increase in the May FOMC meeting. He's also one of the ones that said he's open to making changes between meetings. So Bullard getting a little bit more aggressive as far as the interest rates. Dollars hit a 52-week high, approaching highs we haven't seen since 2016 for the dollar. Apparently there's no sign of relief for Ukraine as Russia starts a new offensive in the eastern Donbass region. Please remain strong in prayer for peace. And crude prices cool after yesterday's Libyan protest takes about 500,000 barrels off the market. We have to, of course, be paying attention to all of that, among all the other uncertainties in the world. And please do continue to pray. Make sure that you hit the lucky like button, share, comment, question, feedback, heckling, and love are always welcome here. The Market Forecast, Market Recap, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get notified when we do go live on YouTube. 11:30 today, we'll have the Coach's Playbook. As far as the VIX, the dollar index, and the 10-year yield, all of them up a little bit. VIX is up a little bit over 1% at 22.49. Dollar index up at 1080. Dollar index up at 100.84. Another uptick in that. Another 52-year high overnight. And the yield on the 10-year continues to creep higher at 2.9%. Always, we got to check in with my people here. Carol's first in the room. You win the prize today, Carol. Theo, good morning. Tachyon, good morning. Rick, yeah, I'm feeling a lot better. It seems the older I get, the more I can create pain for reasons I can't understand. I don't know what happened. I get the feeling I ate so much on Sunday that I broke a rib. Brian, Frederico, Zach, good morning to you. Shaw, good morning. Tachyon, finally learned to take a loss to some extent. Down 2,500 loss today. My mood is still good. My wins in learning far away today's losses, which is always good. We're always going to be taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or something to the like. Now, some clear insights on how to refine your trading strategy. It's the right way to put it. It's the right way to look at it. If there's something we missed, look left. Scott saw and he conquered. Thank you very much. It's good to be back. Jack Rowan, good morning. Terry King, starting another another pro funded account. 3rd time's a charm. Terry, just take your time. Take your time. We're looking forward to your success. Keep us abreast of how things are going for you. Luis, good morning. Tachyon, it's strange that I felt exhausted after a 3-hour trade, a winning trade, and now I feel very energetic after a big loss. There's something to learn about yourself in that, Tachyon. Winners and losers both use up mental capital. The fact that you're feeling energized after a big loss, some of those losses tend to get our hackles up. They tend to get us a little angry, get a little bit aggressive, a little adrenaline, a little cortisol running through your brains, and that's going to create that energy. You remember that next time you feel that way, and what happens or what happened after you do something like that. It's a great lesson in there. Jimmy Decker, good morning. Andres, good morning. Ronald, Bill, Vince, my guy, good to see you chilling with Dylan, Devont, Glimmer Sandwich, Huda, Guten Tag. Guten Tag to you as well. Laura McLaren, good to see you as always. Dead letter opener. Has anyone else Market Replay and Trade of 8 stopped working on them? I don't know anything about that. I do suggest letting our excellent support team know about that. If there's a trend, they will certainly look into it. Marcelo, good morning. Jason Cook, Sarah Hall, a fine morning, and prayers and love to you as well. Zachary, good to see you. Dan, another rally off yesterday's lows. If that fails today, we may melt into 43.40. Next major trend, 42.80. Else, we can finally resolve to 44.20. Good morning, JD. Thanks for covering for me yesterday and on such short notice. It's a lot of research that we put into this, and I really appreciate the work you put into that, JD. Sarah Hall, good to be back. Thank you very much. Juan, Isaac, James, Trading Research, Shaw. They need more than they do need more than 75 basis points to slow inflation. They can't do it all at once. That would certainly send a shock into thing. Juan, everything's going good. Thank you. Brody, Nico, dead letter opener. Yeah, it's been out for a while. We'll have to check that out. Thank you. Juan, does anybody know how to set alarms in an indicator? Like if the 220 session EMA, I do not know how to do that. All I know how to do it is take a look at where that EMA is and set me up the alarm around that area. Nico, Dan, you can use replay only for the past 3 or 4 days for market replay. Encourage more people to join us in the Top Step Discord. Most certainly, some good conversations going on in there. Hey, Joe, good morning to you. All right, so here is the link for group coaching, not group coaching, Make Hogue Money, about 8:20. We're going to get started. Got a couple of people chosen to talk. One of them is not going to be able to make it today, so I'm going to be looking for a couple of people. I figured out how to let people share their screens, so we're going to be able to see what they're looking at. And I got a new way for us to vote as well. We're going to use a poll in Zoom to do this. I'm trying to make this a lot more efficient and better for everyone. All right. Okay. All right, let's get started here. I'm going to get my notes ready. Going to make sure we're set up in the charts. And we're good to go. Let's check out what's going on today. So starting with the daily in the E-mini S&Ps. Downside structure, kind of medium time frame downside structure is intact. We had medium time frame upside structure. Now we have medium time frame downside structure. Last week's low seems to be somewhat pivotal. We took a look down below it yesterday during the session. We see signs of rejection. We don't have a lot of excess at the bottom of the profile, but we do see excess on the daily chart below the last week's low. I'm not sure that it's that dependable for us to be looking for opportunities, just the way it looks right here. We're seeing kind of a balance being set. I'm using yesterday's low, or last week's low, I should say, 43.75 is kind of a bottom of the area of balance that we're in. And then the high over here, 44.56 is an area of potential balance. If we can't stay inside those, that's when I think we may see some bigger moves outside of that. So I'm going to be using basically range-bound rules and longer time frame to be looking for better trade locations. Yesterday, the volume was low. Open interest largely moved. We lost about 1,500 in open interest. So no major changes in open interest as we took a look down below and rejected last week's low. Taking a look now at the 30-minute chart. All righty. We got some overnight shorts in this market. Okay, the market opened. Let's move this. The market opened up here. It's currently trading down here. So there's a downside trend to the overnight, which leads me to believe we have some overnight short, but I'm not confident that there's a good opportunity to use those overnight shorts to your advantage. There is the fact that we're opening in range and in value tells me I'm going to try and stay patient and look for better trade locations as the day goes on. We can see that the overnight traded down to last week's low and rejected it before the session. I'm going to be looking at this as somewhat pivotal for us today. Again, looking at this as the low end of the current balance and up here as the high end of the current balance offers me some opportunities down at this level. I don't necessarily have a dream location here in the S&Ps unless we can get a pretty decent move down to this 43.20, which is, I think, a level that Dan Emmons actually mentioned, or something of the kind. So just holding the low from last week might be interesting. We don't have a very strong low, and we have a weak high, a poor high from yesterday. So the indications off this pullback off the last week's low indicates an unfinished upside auction in the daytime frame yesterday, something I'll be keeping an eye on. But again, I'm going to stay patient because we are in range and in value. Better trade locations are likely to come as the day goes on. You might want to wait until after the initial balance is established before getting too involved if none of the levels mentioned are approached. Here's the crude oil. We're just about to open that first minute. Rollover blurry. Tomorrow is expiration for the May contract. Open interest was lower here, and it kind of has presented lower for a couple of days at higher pricing. We had a test yesterday above our weekly kickoff high, which I left at 106 even. It looked like a pretty close to the low yesterday. We're back down below it and going to be opening back down below that. So looking for some momentum up there, but apparently we didn't have much new business to do up there. Don't forget it is rollover, and a lot of our longer time frame traders are more focused on getting a cheap rollover than becoming directional. They will be forced. We did fail now above weekly kickoff high at $106. The next level that I'm teasing or thinking about for the next weekly kickoff high is this level up here at 110.65 approximately. The market is looking like it's primed to open lower here. So let's take a look at the 30 and we'll see if we have an opening range trade here very shortly. We've got overnight shorts. We've got a gap lower. We've got a gap through an important inflection level like the weekly kickoff level. This, I guess, would be a dream level for me today, is to have the opportunity to trade back to and fail above 106 to look for shorts. Don't know if we're going to get that. Opening with a gap, the gap rules. If we can't close the gap relatively early in this session, we trade in the direction of the gap, which would have us looking for opportunities to sell strength into this morning's crude oil market. Here's the opening range. There we go. We've got 60 to 95. We've got about 35 ticks of opening range. Remember, we're opening with a gap. Better trade locations are likely to come earlier. If we can't close the gap relatively early, we trade in the direction of the gap, which would have us looking lower. We just took out the high of the opening range. That gives us the opportunity to possibly recognize buyer control early in the session. Are those buyers stronger money, or are they weaker hands? Are they the traders that are just holding these shorts down here? Is that enough to scare them into reconciling those overnight shorts, giving us an opportunity perhaps at a better trade location, like this level up here at 106 even, weekly kickoff high? So we may come back and check this out. I do like to finish the forecast relatively early at about 8:15 on Make Hogue Money Days, so I can get set up and get everybody in the room. All right, let's take a look at the Nasdaq now. Well, nice opportunity yesterday at weekly kickoff low. I wasn't really all that involved. I was resting up. Volume was just okay yesterday. As a matter of fact, it was a little lower on a push to the downside. We did add 4,300 estimated in open interest down near this level. Was that open interest sellers coming into that level, or was that open interest increase buyers pushing away from that level? I'm going to probably be looking at both sides of that. We've got downside structure intact, short time frame, much like the S&Ps, same but different. Balance last week's low, 13,876. The Thursday high, 14,296. Dream levels, well, we'll have to wait to see. Overnight short inventory again, in range, in value, very close to settlement. No big reason to get too pushy and get into this market too early today. It's in range, in balance. Both of these markets, as a matter of fact, all of these markets, we have to remember that we have earnings and we have, the constant probability of headline news. They're going to be very sensitive, and they will remain to be sensitive for the time being, if not forever. So again, I'm going to try and stay patient. Opportunities down below here. This is kind of where we've proven too cheap lately. Here's that push to the downside yesterday and a push back to the upside. I would have to say, if we were going to say anything about that open interest increase, we had both sides fighting for this thing yesterday, and it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out over time. Take a look at gold now. I don't know if you guys can hear this. One of my smoke detectors keeps beeping. I just changed the batteries. What is it with these things, and how crazy are they? All right, gold. Thinking about directional activity. We broke out here. Okay, we're above weekly kickoff low. We're looking for continuation. We're looking for buyers to continue to push into this market. We've seen volume start to slow up at important inflection. Well, as price continues to push higher, we had a push within a buck of our weekly kickoff high yesterday. What an opportunity that would have been if I was here. And the market pushes back to the downside and continues to try and push to the downside now. So if we continue to get this push to the downside, where we've opened with a gap, we have not closed the gap, the weekly kickoff low, 1952, seems like almost a foregone conclusion. We got the 20 session we got the 20 session moving average here. I think that's what this is. Yes, the 20 session exponential moving average. It's pretty lined up with that weekly kickoff low. It's going to be an interesting trading day. Gold, no overnight inventory, although we did open with a gap and we have continued that gap. You know, the market opened yesterday right here. And before this break to the downside, we didn't have any overnight inventory. The market opened, couldn't close the gap. We see this push to the downside. We've got a naked point of control and weekly kickoff low that are the obvious downside targets. If I've missed this move this morning, I'm okay. The upside momentum has been in question. And, you know, this might have been enough to tell us so we couldn't close that gap. We've got a lack of momentum to the upside. A pullback was going to be likely. What does that pullback take us back to? Okay, does this level break our upside structure? It certainly is a bearish engulfing pattern as it sits, but I'm looking at weekly kickoff low as a more important level to really recognize a potential change in market state. All right. Euro. Well, we've been dragging along this weekly kickoff low last week and at the end this week. Downside structure certainly remains intact. We lost 1,300 in open interest yesterday, perhaps a little bit of profit taking on a Monday. Very strange. So volume dried up yesterday. What the heck happened to the volume yesterday? This almost looks like it's a display error. It looks too low to be real. We're already above that for today. I'm not sure I believe that much. I'm going to have to double check on my bulletin to see if this remains true. Seems almost unbelievable, but it's something we would expect as the price gets closer to an inflection level like this. If volume dries up and open interest dries up, closing on a level like this, the momentum to the downside may be falling off. We may be losing that momentum. We may be running out of sellers to keep this market moving lower. Last night, we tested 2 weekly kickoff low. Take a look at the 30. I did that, didn't I? Hang on 1 second. I got to drag this back over here. Little slow. Okay, so here's our 30-minute chart. Friday test basically right 2 weekly kickoff low. Inside range and value yesterday, although somewhat directional. Do you think that some of this push to the downside would be long liquidation? Do we have longs down here? It looks like we may have come into some on Friday. Here we are right in the middle of range, right in the middle of value. Do we have any overnight inventory? I'm going to go with no. Overnight inventory has largely been reconciled. Inside the value area, I'm going to remain patient. My dream level, weekly kickoff low. Weekly kickoff low in either direction. Take a look at the 10-year. Here's the daily. We've been saying this a lot lately. Downside structure is intact. We've got a potential test of weekly kickoff low if we haven't already. Perhaps another one on the way. Talk of bigger hikes in May. That's got the market kind of pushing now to the downside. Higher rates, lower price. Gonna look at this as kind of a dream level. This weekly kickoff low. It's been there for 2 weeks. It's fine. Price is finally getting to there. So we'll have to see what happens. It looks like we've got a little bit of a gap perhaps for our 30-minute chart here. Where is that? There it is. So we got a gap rules, gap towards an important inflection level, dream level down here. Last week's low in the neighborhood, weekly kickoff low in the neighborhood. We had a decent breakout from a bear flag. Are we really seeing great momentum to the downside in this? We lost 4,900 in open interest yesterday on lower volume, lower price, lower volume, low open interest. Where is the momentum? Perhaps the momentum will come back in upon acceptance of price below weekly kickoff low. But this just looks like an interesting spot for us down here. No gap, which means we're looking for opportunities to sell strength, but this longer time frame inflection level may offer a decent opportunity. Nat gas. Okay, we've been pretty much ballistic to the upside. It's in rollover. Switch day is scheduled for Friday. We'll watch volume and let us know when we're moving. And the charts, of course, will move over into the June contract as the May contract comes closer to expiration. Lower volume. Is that rollover? We lost 5,700 in open interest on Monday, I should say, yesterday. Is that rollover related? The market still pushed higher and closed higher. We got a little bit of a pushback here. Weekly kickoff low is a dream level for us. We do have a gap on the 30-minute chart here. Gaps are when the market opens outside of the previous day's regular trading hour range, which we have near an inflection level. We've got perhaps some overnight shorts here, and this inflection level, if we can't accept down below, it might be just enough to scare our weaker hands shorts that are in this market from overnight's activity to push the market back to higher levels to either get an opportunity to catch a low here or to see if maybe we get a further pullback upon resolution of the overnight shorts. I'm not ready to start selling strength in this market for the long term by a long shot. However, in day trading, it might be just the right thing. So we got a dream level down here. Weekly kickoff. Oh, this is the wrong market. I do this all the time. I'm looking at this like natural gas. And now here we go. Here's the daily. So here's yesterday on that big push up, losing 5,700 in open interest. Overnight inventory down to the weekly kickoff low. Very similar to actually what's going on in the 10-year. But wow, I hate it when I do that. We've got a gap to the downside. Very important inflection level here. Last week's high. We do have a naked point of control just below that. But if the market can't hold down below that, all of these overnight shorts may give us an opportunity to look for a continuation to the upside or the opportunity for us to look for a long down here to take care of the overnight inventory. If we accept down below it, our overnight inventory may continue to get paid because we do have lots of visuals, lots of somewhat weaknesses down below here. I don't think that we're anywhere near right now changing the market state here. We just need a pullback or a consolidation to even up inventories. All right. So here is the link again for Make Hogue Money. We've got some opportunities for us. Some good conversation going on here. Well, euro. Typically, the July euro doesn't hold much volume. I don't know that we're necessarily in rollover in the currencies just yet. But when it does roll, it's gonna roll into the September contract, not into the July contract. Right. Yeah, they don't roll until early June, and it will roll into the September contract. All right. Let's take our deep breath. Be ready for the trading day today. I'm excited to have another session of Make Hogue Money. Hopefully, you're excited about it too. I'm going to take my deep breath. Stay humble, grateful, and creative today. Looking forward to having a good trading day, a good session with Make Hogue Money, and success for all of you. Make sure that you keep praying for peace and have a great trading day. I'm going to get everything set up for us for Make Hogue Money, and I will see you in the room within the next 2 to 3 minutes. And we'll get started right at 8:20, and I'm looking forward again to another session. I think I've worked out a couple of ways to make it a little bit more efficient. I'm looking forward to seeing how that works for us. Trade well today. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. We'll see you in a few.